promoting businesses and organizations to help them reach their full potential. Lighten the path to the success of your business. Enhancing the lives of our listeners by talking about things that matters most. Helping you to shine your light emotionally, mentally, spiritually, socially, and physically. Spreading positive vibes. You've got it locked and you're listening to Light Vibrations, brought to you by Light Communications right here on CBN Radio 90.9 FM. And now your host and our director, Natasha Lettsome.
Hello, you got it locked in your children with your girl here, Tasha T, bringing you another episode of Light Vibrations. Today in our studios, we have the president from the Virgin Islands State Nurses Association, Dr. Suzette Lettsome. Welcome to the program.
A pleasant good day to you, Natasha. I appreciate being here with you on this program.
Well, the pleasure is all mine. You know, we're here today. We're going to share some vital information about VISNA, some stuff you got coming up, and just basically creating awareness. So thank you for coming to the program today.
Thank you.
So let's start it off. For those of us who may not know what VISNA is, tell us a little bit about the association and why it was formed.
Well, VISNA stands for the Virgin Islands State Nurses Association. And VISNA has been around for a couple decades. And the extent of VISNA is to promote the standards and scope of nursing practice and to advocate for nurses.
Wonderful. So how does VISNA support and represent nurses across the territory?
Well, VISNA is the voice of the nurses of the Virgin Islands. It's one voice, and as the nurses experience different situations or challenges, they do come. Those challenges and comments do come to us at the state association, and we work on different solutions to be able to help our nurses.
So what is the difference between VISNA and the VI Board of Nurse Licensure?
Okay, don't confuse us now. The Virgin Islands Board of Nurse Licensure is an entity that protects the public as nurses practice. And VISNA is the voice of the nursing body.
All right. So as an affiliate of the American Nurses Association, how does VISNA ensure that all local nurses are aligned with national standards and advocacy efforts?
Well, VISNA, as I said, VISNA and ANA, American Nurses Association, we are tightly connected. First of all, the way in which we practice must come from standards of practice, and the American Nurses Association is that entity that dictates how nurses should practice or scope of practice, the limitations of our practice, and how we practice. And just in case you don't know, Natasha, nurses are counted as the most truthful profession of all the professions. That has been going on for many years now. And the reason we are the most truthful, our code of ethics, which comes from our American Nursing Association, and our nurses are committed to following. And so we as nurses, we practice with integrity with our patients, our colleagues, and other entities.
Well, that's definitely something that is good to know, especially in this world of medicine, and everybody has one type of ailment or the other, to know that we can trust in the nurses, and because they are front line. When you come into a doctor's office, most of the time it's the nurses are the front line. They're going to take your vitals, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. And sometimes when you do have questions, you tend to grab a nurse first. So it's good to know that there is a system in place that allows for not only for their protection, but for the protection of your clients.
Yes, of course. And yes, nurses, we do tasks, as you said, vital signs, checking the blood pressure, and blood glucose or blood sugar monitoring. But what we do also involves a very complicated process, clinical judgment, critical thinking skills, which allows us to stay at the forefront of healthcare. And the research supports that nurses who remain educated, nurses who are educated and continue to demonstrate expertise, we help the patient's health outcomes to be better than what they started out with.
So, how do you partner with ANA and other external bodies to ensure that your nurses are kept current, are kept apprised, keeping up with the educational aspect of their mandate?
Well, the American Nurses Association, our collaboration it's really a great collaboration because we have access to the resources that our national partners use. For instance, the different educational offerings in the various specialty of nursing. It doesn't matter if it's nurse midwifery or pediatric nursing or emergency nursing, infectious control. It doesn't matter which area of nursing or constituents or nurses are in or they practice in, they do have the educational information that would better them as they prepare for renewal of their license every 2 years.
So, I understand VISNA is also a part of a Caribbean Nurses Association. What does that regional connection bring to the table?
That regional connection, I want, my vision is to strengthen that regional connection even more. Our nurses in the Virgin Islands have been a part of CNO, and they have been in attendance to some of their conventions or different offerings within the Caribbean, in just an exchange of nurses and networking. And at the convention this month, we've asked the president of the Caribbean Nurses Association to be a part because we want to bring a gathering, a connection of our nurses, whether nationally, locally, or in the Caribbean.
Hmm. And before, you don't let the cat out of the bag. You preempted me a bit and talk about the upcoming convention and everything. But before we go there, there's just a couple more questions I want to ask to make sure that we apprise our listeners about, what's going on with VISNA and how it affects them and, how it affects the nurses. So we want to make sure we give this well-rounded approach before we go in to the convention. Okay. Yeah. Don't think I'm coming back to the convention. I'm coming back to the convention. So right now we want to talk a little bit about the community impact. What are some of the ways that VISNA nurses are making a difference outside of the hospital walls, in schools, neighborhoods, or with families?
Well, you always see nurses. Nurses are present. They're present whether you're looking at a cancer walk or we are walking a sorority, the nursing sorority are doing fundraising for the Cancer Hospice St. Jude's, or whether it's health fairs. But my vision for VISNA is that we strengthen and we become partners with our community organizations. And the two that are upfront at the moment would be the Family Resource Center on St. Thomas and the Women's Coalition on St. Croix. These organizations they assist persons from domestic violence. And they help. They are there. It's not just the adults, but the children, making sure the children have what they need for school and various things. So we want to come alongside these organizations and be of support to them as they are strengthening the fabric of our society.
Beautiful initiatives, because sometimes in the community when persons, you mentioned domestic violence. That is a very serious thing going on now in the territory. Every time you can't turn on the news, you can't scroll through your social media without seeing the impact of domestic violence within our territory. And for VISNA to be partnering with these two entities whose focus is to help persons in that type of situation, that is very huge. So if a collaboration like that were to be cemented, how would that look and how would that translate into help for these survivors?
Well, the directors of these entities that I just mentioned, first of all, they're ecstatic about having a relationship with VISNA. And we are going to, in the next coming months, be able to define exactly how we can play, besides monetarily, how we can really get in there and assist them, whether it's health screening for persons within these organizations, however we could assist them within the confines of the organization. Yes.
Well, we definitely look forward to seeing that manifested, because like I said, there are a lot of people out here in domestic situations that are being adversely affected, and the more support that can be the more they can be supported, the better and the greater the chances they'll be able to get out of that situation.
Yes.
Wonderful. So how does VISNA help build trust and improve health literacy within our community?
Well, trust, I would believe it equates to the profession. That's what we do. It's the way how we treat our patients. If we treat our patients with the dignity and respect that is due them, trust will eventually follow. And we are at that position of trust in being a nurse, keeping confidential those things that are pertinent to our patients. And so the patients already trust us. We know that. And we hold that trust very seriously within the profession.
Wonderful. So we gave you a little outlook about VISNA, the role, the impact for the community. And right now we want to talk about the upcoming convention, the Vaginal Nursing Association convention coming up in October.
Oh, yes.
Tell us a little bit about it.
Oh, we are so excited. I am excited. The VISNA is holding its convention October 22nd to the 24th. And my vision for this convention is that it's a bringing together of nurses nationally, locally, those in our Caribbean. And the theme, I will say, Natasha, the theme is the power of nurses. Quite fitting, because nurses have power, especially when we speak in one voice. Our power ripples through to the judicial system, to the executive body, governmental bodies. It ripples through to every entity, legislative. It ripples through because we have power standing together as a unit, one voice for the betterment of the nurses and our community.
Definitely a fitting theme, and yes, I do agree that nurses, you guys are powerful. And if I haven't said it already, I want to say an extra prayer and a blessing to each and every nurse throughout the territory, VI territory. Thank you guys for the awesome job that you do, and with your vision and with VISNA, the work that you will continue to do, which will trickle up into the community and having more of a community presence and whatnot. So that is awesome. So we're coming back to this convention.
Yes.
The convention. Tell us the particulars.
Well, the particulars are this. Because we're bringing together nursing, our keynote speaker for the convention is the president of the American Nursing Association, Dr. Minzek Kennedy. She is our keynote speaker, and she is so excited. She was overstatic about being invited as our guest speaker. And when she comes to us, she will speak on the leadership of nursing. Also, We have numerous guests that have been invited. Among them, the president of the Caribbean Nursing Association, Dr. Cash, Paulette Cash, and she as well, very ecstatic to have been thought of and invited to our convention. And she will talk to us about nursing advocacy. We've also asked our president, the president of the University of the Virgin Islands, Dr. Sophia George, and her speaking to us would be nursing and innovation. Also, we have, would you believe it, the chief executive officers for the Royal Slider Hospital and St. Thomas and the Governor Wang Louis Hospital and St. Croix, or chief executive officers, respectively, CEO Commission and CEO Baptiste. They are excited to be with us at the convention, and they will bring greetings. And also, we are hoping to establish a collaboration with both hospitals. VISNA is. What else? We will have our own Senate President in there. Thank you, Senate President Milton Potter. Will be bringing us greetings. And of course, the chair of the Health Hospital and Human Services Committee, Senator Fonseca, will also be in attendance. I can't forget the Dean of the School of Nursing, Dean Lisa Lewis. She will be there, and with her support, the students of the baccalaureate program at the University of the Virgin Islands will be in attendance. I'm excited that our nursing students are going to be there. And guess what, Natasha? Not just our UVI nursing students, but an invitation has been extended to our LPN program students and our CNA students, certified, those who are seeking certification as nursing assistants. So we're extending it to our nurses. I am so excited.
I share in your excitement, Dr. Lettsome.
Yes.
This is an awesome lineup. I love that you're trying to include those CNAs, those LPNs, and those persons who are interested in nursing throughout the territory. So your focus is not just on the RNs. You're focusing on the future. You're focusing on aspiring RNs. You're providing that space for them to collaborate, to come to get their feet wet, for them to get to know what's going on in this arena. Now talk about the lineup. You talk about, who will be there. Talk about what will be going on in 3 days. What's going on those 3 days? What can we look out for?
Besides having our guest presenters, we will also have a panel discussion. And our panel discussion, this is nursing in challenging times, and so the strategies moving forward. And so within that panel discussions, we'll have the perspectives from our chief nursing officers. And I want to tell you, talking about our chief nursing officers, we're expecting our chief nursing officer from the Governor Wang Louis Hospital. That would be Ms. Plaskett. The chief nursing officer from Snyder Regional Hospital, and that would be Dr. Olivachi, and our chief nursing officer from the British Virgin Islands, and that would be Miss Hannibal. And so we're really, like I said, we're bringing nurses together. And you might say, why BVI? Why is BVI there? But if you notice, UVI has been at the forefront of education. We have a satellite school here in the British Virgin Islands. We also are instrumental with educating persons from the BVI to be future nurses. So we do have that enrollment. So it is fitting that our CNO from the British Virgin Islands will be among our panel discussions. Also, Natasha, a really great part of this would be to have some self-care sessions for our nurses. Self-care. some massages. Yes, that you heard me right. While they come to the convention, nurses, you can get a little massage in there, some aromatherapy. We want you to be relaxed. We want you to take in. We want you to come with your questions. We want, for the panel discussions. Also, Natasha, this is the business of the VISNA, and where we are getting a report of what's going on for nursing in the territory. So we will get a report from the Virgin Islands Board Nursing Nurse Licensure. We will get a report from the School of Nursing at UVI. We will get a report from different entities that have impact nursing. So this is not just guest speaking, and this is also a reporting of what's going on and going on with nurses. And the caveat, we have an extra special icing on the cake. The CEO for Snyder Regional has agreed to speak to us on advocacy, how we can get advocate on the legislative level. And so we're grateful for her background as jurisprudence. We're grateful for that background. And so from that legal standpoint, the CEO for Snyder will be addressing us on advocacy at the legislative. Oh, I'm so excited. Can't you hear it?
I can hear it. And I know our listening audience can hear it too. And people, if you're just joining us, we have the president of the Virgin Islands State Nurses Association, Dr. Suzette Lettsome, here, talking about VISNA, talking about the upcoming conference, talking about the impact of VISNA in the community, talking about how they support the nurses, talking about why nurses should jump on this bandwagon, come out to the conference, come out to the conference. And not only nurses, they're so inclusive. If you're an aspiring nurse, if you are a part of a CNA program, an LPN program, you can come to this conference. So tell us, how would one get to this conference?
Well, before I go to that, I want to make it clear, Natasha, we want to be so inclusive that we are going to have interpreters within the conference. So we're going to have Spanish interpreters, Creole interpreter, and we're going to have the American Sign Language. Why? Because before we get into the business with the reporting and all of before we get into the business of the convention, the business part of it, a lot of information is going to be shared. And we have quite a population in the territory that speaks Spanish or that speaks Creole, or American Sign Language is their first language. And I think it's very important that when we have any entity that's sharing information, we want the people to be able to hear what's going on and be able to use the information. In person, so it's going to be $125 in person. Our students, get this, our students are only going to pay $10. Look at that. We want them there so much, $10 to be there. And then those who are online, then they will pay $60 for the online registration fee.
All right, so you heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. You've been like you're chilling with your girl here, Tasha T, and we getting all up close and personal in VISNA's business today. We had our president, Dr. Lettsome, here with us, sharing in her love, sharing in her excitement, sharing in her vision, VISNA and this upcoming conference. We getting out to the last couple minutes of the program. We have a few more questions left, and then hopefully we get any other feedback from you before we go. There's so much to cover here. Talk a bit about the future of VISNA.
Well, the future is we have to remember those who are coming behind us. And that's why with a collective voice, VISNA as a collective voice, we are the ones to be mentors for the generations coming up, and even for those who are new to the profession, in the past 5 years. Because mentoring, as persons grow professionally, there's always going to be an opening to be mentored. We also want nurses to be research minded and using the evidence from research and implementing that into practice so that the patient's health outcomes would be better than what they started out with. And again, we talk about having a safe place. So the safe place for our nurses to come together, the safe place that nurses feel where we could network, the safe place for nurses, not just building the home, the home of VISNA, the future home of VISNA, but also supporting our nurses as they retire, as they get older, and they just need to see somebody. They need to talk to somebody. They need, we want to keep our nurses. Nurses sacrifice so much, and as they retire and get older, they need not be forgotten. And that is why we want to create that foundation to the welfare of our nurses.
Now, we have so many people listening to us right now, and we want to make sure that we account for persons who are hearing you, who are inspired by you, and who want to contribute somehow. Is VISNA looking for any partners? Can persons in the private or the public sector partner with VISNA to help you to realize your visions for the youth?
Oh, we would welcome partners, and also part of this convention, we're sponsors. Anyone who would like to sponsor, you sponsor, even if it's $5, $10. But for those of you who may have a little bit more to give, you want to be a bronze supporter, $5,000 and up, if a silver supporter, $10,000 and up, or a gold supporter, $20,000 and up, we will be most appreciative of your support, because as we are helping members within, I said, those two organizations, the Family Resource Center on St. Thomas and the Women's Coalition on St. Croix, and being a support within our hospitals on both islands, St. Thomas, St. Croix, and building our future VISNA home, of course, we need your support to keep our nurses not just knowledgeable, but also that they are receiving the mentorship and the support they need to move forward in the future.
Dr. Lettsome, it was such a pleasure having you on the program today. Really appreciate you, loving your energy, loving your excitement, loving your joy, loving the prospects. We talked about the convention persons in the VI, USVI, BVI, the Caribbean, wherever. If you honor the song of my voice, you are invited to come out.
Come on
to
out.
that conference. Make sure we're going to be giving you the details so where you could sign up, so you could sponsor, so you could register. We got you covered. Final thoughts, Dr. Lettsome.
Oh, Natasha, thank you so much for inviting me to your studios. It is, again, I'm so excited about this VISNA convention, and I see this as such a breakthrough that we have all these powerful people in the room at the same time, where they could hear about nursing, where they can say about nursing, and where we can find solutions about nursing for our territory. Please come on out, come on down to the UVI Innovation Center, October 22nd to the 24th, and you will have a wonderful time of information, relaxation, and of course, there's a serious side of all of this, but I'm sure you will enjoy being with us for our convention.
Well, thanks again. You had a lot of you with your girl here, Tasha T, on the Light Vibrations, talking with Dr. Lettsome today and bringing you some much needed information on VISNA and its upcoming conference.
To register for the Power of Nurses VISNA Convention, call 1340-244-6874. You've been listening to Light Vibrations, brought to you by Light Communications. Light Communications, your one-stop shop for all of your communications and marketing needs. From conception to completion, we offer the entire communications package. Choose Light for reach, results, and reliability. We have over 15 years experience, and we offer an array of services guaranteed to enhance your reach and increase your market presence. To showcase your business or organization on our program, contact Natasha Lettsome at natasha@lightcommunications.com or via WhatsApp or telephone at 284-545-7355 to secure your package today. Community-minded individuals with knowledge in finance, health, business, relationships, spirituality, fitness, agriculture, healthy living, parenting, or any other topic that can enhance the lives of our community are also encouraged to contact Ms. Lettsome to organize an interview. Thank you for tuning in to Light Vibration, and don't forget to tune in this time next week as we continue to bring you life-changing information. Until next time, shine your light.